Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Tominator, Tom Cherichello. Today is Thursday, July 3rd, 2025. Welcome once again to the TomCast. My buddy Big Joe is with me. Hey, Joe.
How you doing, Tom?
All right, doing good.
Happy 4th.
That's where we're going to start off
5th,
today.
6th, and 7th.
Tomorrow is 4th of July.
Yeah.
The United States of America turns 249. The Declaration of Independence from Britain was signed, or actually ratified, on July 4th, 1776. I don't know if you're aware, I love history.
The bicentennial coin.
Got my Polar Pop from Circle K, Diet Dr. Pepper.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to Circle K. Sponsorships are available. A lot of people don't know that there were a lot of citizens that felt we should not become an independent country. Like they were loyal. They call them loyalists, loyal to the British crown.
Right.
And if you could bet on it, I mean, Great Britain was like a tremendous empire, like controlled a good portion of the free world or the whole world at that time. And like, you know, we're trying to go out on our own, become our own country. And, you know, people were like, well, they're just going to come over and crush us, which we did fight a revolution. We were underfunded, undermanned, under everything. And you know, if you had to put betting odds on the USA making it to 249, I mean, it would be amazing, you know?
Yeah.
And so there were 13 colonies, basically 13 states, the original 13. So they had a vote. They called it the Continental Congress to decide whether we wanted to declare our independence from the British. And there was a lot of, it wasn't a slam dunk. Like there were several states that wanted to vote no. I mean, they were like, you know, this is a bad idea. The final vote, eventually states changed their mind. It became 12 voted for independence and New York abstained. They did not vote. So it was actually 12-0. But there were other states that originally voted no, and they changed their vote to, you know, yes.
Oh, I got you.
The Declaration of Independence was drafted by Thomas Jefferson, and then John Adams and Ben Franklin reviewed it and made some revisions. That document was ratified on July 4th. That's why we celebrate the 4th of July. Fireworks on July 4th, that was John Adams' idea. And the first fireworks display was July 4th, 1777 in Philadelphia. So obviously we shoot fireworks. And I mentioned this in Memorial Day. Like, I think it's great that we have fireworks displays, but they're very dangerous. Yeah. Like a lot of people get injured severely. If you're going to shoot off fireworks on your own, make sure there's adult supervision. You know what you're doing, because a lot of people I don't want to see anyone get hurt.
Yeah.
There's so many great stories about that era, the American Revolution and independence. I mentioned that Christmas, you know, the Battle of Trenton was fought on December 26th. You know, Washington marched on Christmas night across the Delaware and got our first win in the Revolution. But another great story is one of the states that was on the fence about independence was Delaware. So they went to this Continental Congress, and every state sent a delegation between 2 and 7 members. And the members of each state voted amongst themselves. So if you had like 5-person delegation, it had to be 3-2 for that state.
So it just had to be a majority.
Yeah, correct. So Delaware had 3 guys.
Yeah.
And the 2 were there, and they were split. And the third person from the Delaware delegation was a guy named Caesar Rodney. He was a lawyer. Shout out to the lawyer. So he wasn't there, and he's like, well, if you need me, let me know, because he was doing some work in Delaware. And one of the guys got him a message saying, look, we're split. We need you here. So Caesar Rodney rode his horse. The vote was on July 2nd. He rode his horse all night on July 1st.
Wow.
18 hours, 80 miles in a thunderstorm.
Holy, just to be sure he's at the meeting.
He only stopped to change horses because obviously one horse can't go 80 miles.
Right.
And he got there just as they were ready to vote. He had his boots and his spurs on. It was all muddied.
Yeah.
And he came in and voted for independence, and Delaware's vote was so great story of Caesar. They call it Caesar Rodney's Midnight Ride.
Caesar Rodney's Midnight Ride. Okay.
Imagine riding a horse 18 hours,
Holy
80 miles in a thunderstorm. So that's a great, one of the many great stories of like American history.
How many miles an hour you think the horse is going? Like 20 maybe?
Well, we can do, you're the math major. If he went 80 miles in 18 hours, how many miles an hour is that?
Oh, okay. 80 miles, 18 hours.
But he had to stop to change horses, so that there was probably time.
Yeah. Oh, God. I don't know.
He was probably going, well, 20, no, he's probably going 10 miles an hour would be.
Yeah, 10. No, it's more than 10 miles an hour. Jesus, I can't. What's 18? I'd say maybe it's about 14 miles an hour or something like that.
So we're going to be shooting. And also, another thing for July, we talk about fireworks is, I know you're a fan of it. I am. Is the Nathan's hot dog eating contest? It's Coney Island, New York. And the dominant, if I guess I would call it, eater for years has been Joey Chestnut. Yeah. Now he wasn't in it last year because he had a contract with a competitive company. They wouldn't let him in, but now he's back. They call him Jaws. That's his nickname, Joey Jaws Chestnut.
Okay.
He's like universally accepted as the greatest competitive eater in history.
Yeah.
So he's, you know what his odds are, the betting? I think if you want to win like $100, you have to bet 2,000.
Oh,
there's no
20.
way he could lose.
Yeah. That's still risky because if the guy gets something caught and it's clogged or something, there's always a...
Or if he gets sick or whatever.
Yeah.
I used to own racehorses and like, you knew which horse was the best.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're sick or they have like, we're all human. You can have a bad day.
This might be the year he goes down.
You want to bet against him?
Jesus.
I think it's at noon on 4th of July. It's on ESPN too.
Yeah.
I always enjoy watching that, actually.
Yeah, I do too.
It is a little gross.
As a matter of fact, they just had, now it was last week, I don't know if it was a rerun, it's Saturday afternoon, we're in the paddy wagon after golf.
Shout out to the paddy wagon, they have multiple locations in the area.
Yeah, we're watching the big guy, the big black guy that chugs a lemonade. I guess he gets 5-gallon containers of lemonade. Oh yeah. Well, he's won the lemonade They get a lemonade contest, and they just had that, but he wins it every year. He and another guy were the final two, so they were showing those two when we were in there. They do a lemonade contest. They'll probably do it again on this 4th too.
So the big news this week is Sean P. Diddy Combs. Yeah. There were 6 charges against him, 3 charges, 2 counts each. Yeah. He's found not guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking. Yeah. He was found guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution, 2 counts. So they're going to have to wait for sentencing.
And what was the maximum?
The maximum is 10 years for each of those counts. Wow. But nobody gets 10 years.
Yeah.
Like it would be, I think the prosecution is asking for 60 months, and his lawyers are asking for 20 months for each. So now they're going to give him credit for time served.
So he might get 1 year,
close to a year. I think over 9 months. So he might have to do another year, 2 years, something like that. But we'll see what the judge does.
Wow.
We talked about it one episode. I don't think you were on that episode, but Kamala Harris, when she was running for president, surprisingly to me, being a woman and a Democrat, she was in favor of legalizing prostitution.
She was.
She has said that. And now, marijuana is legal, becoming everywhere now. And you really think, now there's people who argue that marijuana leads to harder drugs or it leads to health problems. Prostitution really, a lot of people call it a victimless crime.
Yeah.
So, but my point is, P. Diddy could be doing years in jail for something that you could argue should be legal.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into that. I understand no one wants prostitutes in their neighborhood, if you have little kids and, the morality of it. But I don't know. To me, if it looks like marijuana is going to be legal almost everywhere, and prostitution is illegal. Which one is worse?
Yeah.
I know some people think alcohol should be illegal, and prostitution and marijuana should be legal.
I got something to say about that.
I disagree with that.
You know, going back to Diddy though on his thing, the months. I mean, even if let's say he got 3 years, a lot of times it's usually if he's good behavior, they cut that in half. Or would he? So now with time served and everything, great. It's possible if
his lawyers wanted him to be released immediately. The judge said no.
Yeah,
because he served 9 months. He's been in jail for 9 months.
Yeah, so they made it 3 years, and then with good behavior and all that crap, I mean that puts him out in a year and a half. So it's possible he could do as little as maybe I'm thinking a half a year left.
It's possible. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
So. Considering what he was facing,
now
he's still got almost 70 civil lawsuits against him from women. I don't even think it's all women. I think it's guys too, for like sex crimes against them. So he's going to have to deal with that. He'll be fighting lawsuits probably the rest of his life. But I'm not going to hold a benefit for him. I don't think he's going to
be. And no fundraisers, no nothing.
So I kind of saw that coming. We talked about it on several episodes. I think they what they call overcharged the prosecution when they're trying to hit him with racketeering. This isn't like it was some sexual, where like there are a lot of organized crime where like prostitution is their business and they're importing women from other countries. This was women he knew. To go with the RICO charge, I mean, I thought they overcharged, but again, I'm not saying he's not a bad guy, but.
Oh, yeah, they definitely kind of souped up the charges. They went for the top charges in those categories. The RICO, I don't think either one of us ever understand how that applies.
It's hard for juries to even understand RICO. It's a complicated law. You have to show two what they call, quote, predicate acts. It's if you're going to charge the law was designed to fight organized crime.
Yeah,
that's where RICO comes from. So, and anyway, I don't know how soon the sentencing is going to be. They haven't announced when it's going to be. But
I mean, how organized is it? This thing is just P. Diddy, right?
Yeah.
So it's a one man. Obviously, not a soda. He's not that bright anyway.
Well, he did a lot right. I mean, he built up a $500 million fortune or more.
Yeah. Lucky.
Moving on from Diddy, everyone's probably tired of it. As I know that like it was really popular when I was a kid. I've talked about it on a few episodes. Horse racing is kind of a dying sport. Like a lot of people feel that like it's cruel to the animals. These horses die. Gambling wise, people gamble like casinos. People would rather go to a casino than go to a racetrack.
Yeah.
But the reason I brought it up is a legendary horse trainer, D. Wayne Lucas, died this week. He was 89 years old. Just a great story, even if you don't like horse racing. Like the guy grew up on a farm in northern Wisconsin. He just raced horses like as a hobby, like at fairs in the summer and stuff. He went to the University of Wisconsin at Madison and got a master's degree, bachelor's and master's, and became a high school teacher and basketball coach. But he still had it in his mind, race horses. So one day he ups and quits and moves to California and starts racing quarter horses. Quarter horses run real short distances. He did that for years and did great. And then he switched to thoroughbred horses. And he holds the record for most wins in what they call the Breeders' Cup. Cup is like a big event every year in horse racing at the end of the year. They race for like a lot of money. And he has the most wins as a horse trainer in the Breeders' Cup. And he has the second most wins in the Triple Crown races, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont.
Oh, wow.
So he was a legendary trainer, but just a great story. Like, I don't think anyone's ever had a bad word to say about this guy. Very articulate, good-looking guy, was married 5 times. He also faced tragedy. His son was his right-hand man. Yeah. His son got attacked by a horse.
Oh, wow.
Like a horse got spooked, and the son didn't die from that, but he ultimately did die. It messed his brain, got severe brain injury, had to retire from training horses, and then ultimately his son died in his 50s.
Obviously, he hit him with his feet, probably.
I think he fell and hit concrete, and so he faced his share of tragedy, but he lived to be 89, and he won the Preakness Stakes, not this year, but last year, with a horse called Seize the Gray, and he had like a walker as he's walking to the winner's circle, and he said, tell those young guys I'm not retiring. Like, the young.
Oh, he's still going?
He died this week.
Oh, he died.
But he trained up until the end.
Yeah.
But he won the Preakness at 88 years old, which I love it when to see, like, people are living longer now. Like people say to me, when I became an attorney, like I didn't become an attorney when I was 25.
No.
And I became an attorney. and like
I think I was with you.
my friends said to me that I grew up with, they're like, well, we know that you're smart enough, we know that you're going to be a good attorney, but, how long can you do this? I'm like, well, I plan to be an attorney for a long time. Like, I'm hoping to live like into my 80s and keep
develop your business and then kind of simmer it down a little bit.
I love it that people retire and just relax. I think that's great, but that's not me. Like, I'm not going to sit in a bar all day. I mean, I like to sit in a bar, but not every day.
No, I got you a few, mix it up a little.
So I love to see this Wayne Lucas. I mean, he only retired like a couple months ago. A month ago or something, he got sick. So I think it's a great story. I think I would love to see like a Netflix movie about him.
Yeah.
Because it's the whole story of him being a high school basketball coach. And then he made a lot of money too. He became wealthy.
5 wives, I would think he had.
He had to be wealthy, right?
5 wives, wow.
Moving on, now it's 4th of July weekend. We're getting baseball is getting hot and heavy. Really, not a whole lot of surprises in who's doing well. The New York Yankees are in first place, but just barely, only by like a game.
Yeah, Rays.
The Tampa Bay Rays are playing great.
Yeah.
A lot of people think they could be the better team. Like, they're young.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. They have like one of the lowest payrolls in baseball, and they keep turning out a great team.
Yeah.
So our local, we got to get to a game.
Yeah.
They're playing in a real small stadium. George Steinbrenner.
We had the one with Nick and his buddy there. That was preseason though.
So they're in first. A big surprise in the American League is the Detroit Tigers are in first place by a lot.
Yeah.
And another, you got to root for them.
That. Yeah.
The Houston Astros are in first. In the National League, the Phillies, which is no surprise, are in first.
Yeah.
In the National League Central, the Cubs are in first, so everybody roots for the Cubs.
That's a surprise. When you heading out there for that one?
August. I'm going to Wrigley Field in August. Anyone who's never been to Wrigley Field should go.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like the Cubs.
I think if part of it was a weekend, maybe I'd think about doing it. But
and the Dodgers, which is no surprise there. I mean, they have the huge payroll.
Yeah.
They're in first in the National League West. So not a whole lot of the big surprises are Detroit, Tampa Bay, and I guess Cubs. The Cubs.
Yeah, Cubs are probably the biggest surprise of a bunch of them.
We'll see if these teams, like as the season moves on, it's a very long season in baseball, and as they say, the cream rises to the top. Like we'll see if these teams, like the surprise teams start getting, folding down, as the season goes on. Aaron Judge on the Yankees having a tremendous season. Ohtani on the Dodgers having a tremendous season.
Judge is like a one-man army.
We talked about gambling on the show a lot. We actually had an expert on, Rick Benson, that owns a gambling treatment center. More and more you're seeing athletes getting charged with like gambling. There's an NBA player. He has not been charged with a crime. I want to emphasize. They're just investigating him, named Malik Beasley.
Okay. I have heard of him.
He plays for Detroit Pistons, and he was set to sign a 3-year, $42 million contract. Apparently, the Pistons put it on hold because he's under investigation for gambling. But I guess it's the district attorneys in New York are investigating him for gambling, some kind of gambling violations.
How did they first come on to this? Is it because
they don't tell you everything? We only have limited facts.
Because he's broke? That triggered?
I think where it started is one of the gambling sites said that a large amount, they have what they call prop bets.
Yeah.
They have them in basketball, football.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, you can bet on a basketball game which team to win. Or say you want to pick a player and you want to bet like a player will score more than, say, 10 points.
Right.
So they might set it at 10 points depending on how good the player is.
Right.
So you could bet that guy will score over 10 points or less than 10 points.
Yeah.
So there was one bet on him to get over 2.5 rebounds in a game.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of money bet on that. Like that, the casino got suspicious.
Yeah.
It's like, who bets that much on him getting over 10? And actually they bet under 2.5 and he got 6 rebounds. I guess the people betting it lost. But that got them suspicious. And we need to take a look at this. Because sometimes when a bet is fixed, too much money gets bet on it.
I wonder, but someone had to pay him out somewhere along the line.
Well, they're saying now what's coming out is he signed contracts in his career for $59 million, and apparently we don't know this, but he may be broke. Like they're saying he's getting sued. Like people have lent him money, had to sue to get the money back. Even apparently his landlord sued because he didn't pay his rent. Wow. So he may or may not be broke. We don't know, but that's usually a telltale sign of someone is going to do something illegal is if they need money.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's set to sign that $42 million 3-year contract, which you would think would have solved all his financial problems for most people. But I think I've shared this for like a year. You're going to see more and more of this.
Yeah.
I mean, gambling sites are going crazy.
Yeah.
Like I don't care how much money these guys make.
Yeah.
The temptation is great to, hook up with gamblers, whether they get, even if they're not fixing the game, they're giving the gamblers information and, get like some kind of commission or kickback, what have you. So, again, he has not been even arrested. He has not been charged with any crime.
Yeah.
But I think that, and this guy's a good player. He's not like I'm not saying he's great, but he's a better than average player.
No, I've heard of the guys.
When you hear about like the really lower level guys, that they may not make enough money to live the rest of their life. The temptation is even greater.
Oh, I know. I know on a European tennis tour, there is tons of this gambling, throwing matches, because they control their own destiny.
Well, you see the woman player at Wimbledon, she lost Jessica
Bagula. Bagula, yeah. And, she number 3 seed. A lot of
and
the men's
gamblers are like threatening her life.
Yeah. Probably they took it in the that girl. I watched some highlights of that. That girl destroyed her. I mean, it wasn't.
Well, I can't imagine. No one's implying that was fixed. She just got beat.
And plus, grass is a surface. It's easy to get up. If you're going to get upset on a particular surface in tennis, grass would come to my mind as being the number one.
100%. Like
because a hard court, the ball is more of a true bounce. You can have a tough time handling severe underspin.
And how many grass tournaments are they in here? Maybe 2?
Yeah, 2.
Well, they usually get it. They play a tune-up the week before.
Yeah, they play the tune-up the week before, and I forget what that's called, before Wimbledon.
I want to say Queens.
Yeah, the Queens
Club or something.
That's.
I don't know if they still play that.
That is what it is. Yeah, it's Queens Club. Yeah.
And then they play Wimbledon. I don't think they're.
And the Tennis Hall of Fame is in Newport, Rhode Island. That's all grass courts.
There used to be more grass tournaments. I think there are only those 2 now. I could be mistaken.
Yeah.
But no one's implying that she fixed that match. I think her father's a billionaire. Like, she doesn't need the money.
I've actually played on grass courts at Longwood Cricket Club, Longwood, where they held the U.S. Pro. I played when we used to go up to see Peter, my father's good friend. We almost always played on the grass because we grew up on clay, so we didn't need to go play clay again. He got us on the grass. We went to play the grass because it was something that was different. It was tough. Playing on grass is much better playing on alcohol. Anyway.
So we'll see what happens. And like I said, I said it a year ago. I'll say it again. I think you're going to keep hearing more and more about and I'm not crying for gamblers that lose their money.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's, you know, you're gonna bet, you're taking that risk. I know they say that it should be legit. You know, but you want I tell them just don't bet.
Yeah,
is what my advice to everybody.
Yeah, don't bet. No, you are right. I wish the hell there's one thing I could take back. I wish I never bet.
But getting back to 4th of July before we're going to wrap it up early today for the holiday weekend is I just want to I mentioned earlier about fireworks and people should be careful, but also I intend to consume alcohol is don't drink and drive. Yeah. I mean, take a Lyft or Uber or get a friend who hasn't been designated driver. I mean, so many fatalities on the holiday weekend or you know, just be safe and, you know, enjoy the holiday. And don't forget what this is about. This isn't just, hey, a day off from work. It's, you know, this is this great country where we're fortunate. And like, I don't put down other countries. Like when people come here, but we don't realize like how good we have it. Like, I mean, there's these countries where you basically have no shot.
Right.
I mean, like, you know, they're controlled by dictators and, you know, the government steals all the money and people are starving and, you know, you have to worry about getting shot in the street,
right.
Or gangs and what have you. I mean, we live in the greatest country in the world, and we should never forget it. And that's what we should be thankful for this weekend.
Okay.
All right. Well, everybody enjoy. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July to you too, Tom, Eric, everybody.